Well, my memory of that day was it was surreal because I was at the Toronto Film Festival, which, you know, was close but so far away. And my sister was in New York, so it was a really scary time for me.
I don't know that people really have as much as they... I think everybody was very quick to say they processed it. I mean, as much of a cliche as it is to say, it was a catastrophic change for people that I don't know that people have fully, completely dealt with. I mean, I think that in New York, I mean, I live in New York and I was there when it happened and stuff like that. I mean, there was a certain kind of emotional dealing with it. I mean, I think people have dealt with a lot of the death of it, but the kind of larger political thing of it, I think, is still something people are going to be processing for a long time.
I'm American. I lived in New York at a certain point in my life, and it's a very sad, tragic thing, and hopefully we can celebrate all that's happened since then to, you know, combat those feelings.
I want to share my September 11th story. But I've never really gotten into like what that time was like for me personally, or what that day was like for me personally. 2001, literally exactly on June 4th, 2001. When I moved here, I had a 3-month sublet, so I had a place to stay for 3 months. After those 3 months, I moved into a friend's couch that was in the financial district that was literally a half a block from the Twin Towers. Like a friend's sweet apartment, and he was broke, so I got to stay on the couch. On the morning of September 11th, I remember a noise, just like a crushing noise. And I stuck my head out the window, and I just remember seeing paper falling. And then my roommate came running out. He turned on the TV, and there was no news. There was like nothing. He's like, "What is that?" And there was nothing. And then like, it came on, and it was the first shot of like the building on fire. This is before like terrorism was all anyone talked about. It wasn't even in my scope of consideration. I remember walking towards the front door of the apartment, and my camera was recording. It turned into something that I can only describe as an unbridled fear and confusion and absolute terror.
Today, our fellow citizens, our way of life, our very freedom came under attack in a series of deliberate and deadly terrorist acts. The victims were in airplanes or in their offices. Secretaries, businessmen and women, military and federal workers, moms and dads, friends and neighbors. Thousands of lives were suddenly ended by evil, despicable acts of terror. The pictures of airplanes flying into buildings, fires burning, huge structures collapsing, have filled us with disbelief, terrible sadness, and a quiet, unyielding anger.
You know, it's one of those things that, you know, we'll all remember where we were when we first heard about the Twin Towers, in the same way that, you know, if you were alive at the time, you remember where you were when Elvis died or when Princess Diana died.
Yeah, well, I live in Manhattan. I mean, I was there that morning. I live about a mile away from where it happened. So I think there's a personal remembrance of that. That's pretty hard to shake, you know, to be honest. I think it's been used so much in our country, you know, in so many different ways that it's almost hard to say that. It almost sounds sentimental or something, but it isn't. It's a very real thing that happened that was quite powerful. I remember that I don't think I'll ever shake, really. You know, if I really think back on that day, you really thought the world was something was changed for good forever.
In 1993, when New York's World Trade Center came under terrorist attack for the first time, Rick Rescorla, a British-born American, was one of the last men out after assisting thousands of survivors to safety. Legend has it that he got the attention of the terrified crowd that day by dropping his trousers. On September 11th, Rick was working as Morgan Stanley's security chief at the World Trade Center. He was last seen on the 10th floor, again ushering people to safety, even singing to them to ease the panic. Rick Rescorla's easy heroism was earned the hard way, as a soldier in the British Army, as a police officer in Rhodesia, as a platoon leader in the U.S. Army in Vietnam, where he won the Silver Star for bravery. It's been said that courage is not freedom from fear, it's being afraid and still going on. The courage to look fear in the face, to overcome it. Once you've done that, you can do it again and again and again. Rick Rissola was a living embodiment of that statement.